All right. Good morning. This is our Monday morning training. Give me a second and I'm going to see. I just want to double check and see if we are live on Facebook. It's not looking like it. So this has
I
been
can
very
share the link out.
okay. Yeah, I just went to the streaming software. It's not doesn't look like it's showing up on there. So
All good. I'll push
all
some
right.
buttons. Make sure
All
the
right.
people can
Push
see
some
it.
buttons. We'll get it out to everybody. Sooner or later, maybe we'll figure this out. Before they
Maybe.
change the rules again, and then we have to figure it out again. So, but anyways, today we are going to kind of continue where we left off last Monday. Last Monday, we talked about just how some things are changing a little bit in the industry. We've been losing a few carriers that closing up their doors or are about to close up shop within the next few weeks. And yeah, just a lot of crazy stuff going on with a lot of these different carriers out there. But we didn't really talk about the reasoning behind all that on our training last week. We talked more about the solutions of what we can do to help agents and to kind of show you the other options that are out there when it comes to some pretty comparable carriers, maybe even some that are even maybe like a little bit of an upgrade over what you're used to.
I like that word.
CFG was the one that was like one of the bigger ones that closed their doors about maybe a week and a half or so ago now. And I think some people maybe they just get comfortable working with like one carrier. They get used to just kind of all the methods of doing business. There's so many different parts, I guess, moving parts when you're writing business with a carrier. It's more than just how do I submit an app. It's all the stuff after the fact too. What do you do when there's a beneficiary change? What do you do when someone needs to change their banking information? Like all of these little things. Well, every company is a little bit different. So I think maybe sometimes people they just get comfortable. They like focusing on maybe the one carrier just because it makes it a lot easier on them. So now when that carrier is not available or even around anymore, we have to pivot. We got to learn other carriers. We got to learn some solutions to stay in business. So, and that's where I'll do a quick breakdown of what we went through last week, the carriers that we went through, and then we'll go and we'll add a few more to the mix. So I also have Chris on with me as usual this morning. What's up, Chris?
Yeah, it's summer. House is busy. Things are going on, but I'm excited to keep folks up to date with what to do as the industry continues to change. Because I think you're right. People get comfortable, but getting uncomfortable allows you to grow, and adversity is an opportunity for opportunity. That was
Yeah,
redundant,
most
but yeah,
definitely.
get it. You get it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to put the slides up here, and like I said last week, we went through, like I mentioned, CFG, they shut their doors. Great Western, they're closing up shop soon. They're cutting off advance commissions at the end of this month. And then I believe you can write business with them through the end of August.
But why
But
would
then
you?
after that, that's pretty much it. So with that said, I mean, there needs to be some solutions there. The four that we went through last week were American Amicable, Baltimore Life, Transamerica, and then Corebridge. So if you did not watch the training last week, I would recommend to go back and watch it, learn the reasoning behind why we feel those are some pretty viable options when it comes to doing business. American Amicable, multiple products, really all of them, especially the first three, multiple products when it comes to whole life and term products that are available. American Amicable, they have the universal life. Transamerica does as well. So a lot of good options there, as well as the Corebridge that we added in that is one that does like more of like a guaranteed issue or has a guaranteed issue product. They do have a traditional final expense, but then they also have the guaranteed issue. So again, like Great Western, we talked about how a good portion of agents were primarily only using Great Western for their guaranteed issue options. Well, losing that carrier, you're going to need other options for your guaranteed issue business. So that's where Corebridge kind of we threw in there to kind of fill in that gap. And I believe they do accept the Direct Express too, right,
Mhm.
Chris?
Yeah, I was on a demo this morning for Toolkit, and I suggested to folks I would rather write Transamerica modified on a Direct Express case just for better persistency. But they do take Direct Express business. It's just you got to make sure you're placing those with true Social Security billing carriers.
Okay, yeah, and I know, like you mentioned, that the Transamerica has been really good with the billing,
Hmm.
historically better with the Direct Express. So yeah, that's good to know because, like I said, I've written that business, and a lot of times I haven't written a ton of it with them, but other carriers, it's like you write it, and then maybe the first payment goes through, and then the next one doesn't. A lot of it, I think we've talked about, has to do with when they pull that money,
Hmm.
uh, and they must have it figured out, all the way down to the
A
exact
minute.
second that that money is being deposited into the person's account to be able to pull it right away. But whatever they're doing, I guess, is working. So that's good to know that if you have that Direct Express business, that the Transamerica is a good option for that. So the carriers we're going to run through today, the first one on the list is SBLI. Now, SBLI, I would say about maybe a little over a year ago is when people really started to learn about them, started doing business with them. I know that their platform was really set up for telesales, really. Like the whole behind the scenes sort of thing was kind of geared more towards telesales, but it is available for in-home sales and also for telesales. When I was doing my telesales platform a little over a year ago, that was one of my main focuses was the SBLI. It was easy to use. It was easy to write over the phone, and and you know I would say even kind of comparable to like American Amicable. I mean they take most people out there. I'd say they're probably even a little bit more lenient than like American Amicable. I was leading with American Amicable, but there were some situations where SBLI just seemed to be a better fit. So SBLI, their final expense product goes ages 50 to 85. They go up to 35,000 in coverage, and they're available in all states except New York. And that's probably wise on their part. Uh,
I don't think New York's available in New York.
yeah, I mean, I think New York is really kind of a big portion of the reasoning behind the failure with Colombian. Uh,
Yeah, who knows? But boy, they shut
yeah,
them down.
they're what was it? The private equity or whatever, they kind of dropped out at the last minute, and a lot of it I think had to do with the regulations in New York and things like that. And
Hmm.
yeah, not a great state. I remember even I was with Lincoln Heritage for what 11 years, and they were in every single state but New York. And I just remember they said, New York is just highly regulated, and New York wants to like run insurance companies the way they want to run them. And it's like, well, you guys like know like government and law. Insurance companies, they kind of have their own people behind the scenes that know how to put together insurance products properly. So, and that's why a lot of companies disagree with that and just they don't want to have business in New York.
Hmm.
So, only state that SBLI is not in is New York. But they do have a preferred, standard, and modified options available. So preferred and standard first day coverage, modified your typical first 2 years return of premium plus some interest, and then after that full death benefit. And the rates I would say are very competitive. And the EAP, again, it has that instant decision, which all agents like for face-to-face and for telesales. And also, just a little bit more of like a value proposition, they have the free membership to the Sequoia Funeral Concierge Service. Haven't talked too much in depth about the Sequoia funeral concierge service, but it's very comparable to the Everest that is available with the American Amicable product, the Platinum solution that we've talked about on some prior trainings. The Sequoia, it's available on all of their products, all of the final expense products, and it's just a free membership. But it's something, like I mentioned, it adds some value. It helps the family in the time of need, not only with getting the claim settled, but with helping the family to put everything in order. Now, one question that I'll usually always ask in a home, not only who is going to be handling your final arrangements when that time comes, but I'll always ask them what is that day going to look like? Have they ever had to go through these sort of things before? And if they tell me no, like my daughter's going to be a wreck, she's never had to go through this sort of thing. Right away, I'll bring up something like this. Well, we can help, we can assist, and we can make that day in her life that's already going to be horrible maybe a little bit easier, because we can help you put everything in order ahead of time when it comes to the funeral and the planning, and where all she's going to have to do is make a phone call and everything will just kind of get put in place for her. It'll protect her from getting taken advantage of. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes. I don't feel like funeral homes overcharge, but they add stuff sometimes that are not necessary. All the different add-ons when people are grieving and they're not really thinking about the money they're spending. So that's where places like the Sequoia or like Everest with the American Amicable, and I think a few other carriers are going to be bringing that on at some point in the future. But it's just, again, it's something that adds value that will end up making that time in the family's life a little bit easier, because the client took that time to put everything in order for their family ahead of time. So that's what I really love about these products that offer these sort of things. It makes it more than just about another life insurance policy. So,
Adam,
and you can buy a life
add
insurance
this
policy
too.
anywhere.
Yeah.
What's that,
I'm not
Chris?
sure if you have this on today's training, but Guaranteed Trust Life added Sequoia over the last few months. Guaranteed Trust Life has that graded benefit product that's almost a good replacement for Great Western as well. So if more carriers are adding it, it should give you more peace of mind to be able to offer it and use it as a value-added proposition. I don't know if you've tried this yet, but what I've also done in several cases is leveraged Sequoia and Everest as reasons to add coverage. Like maybe they already have plenty. Maybe they don't think they need more, but you can go over the benefit and ask them if they think that this would help them and use that as a reason to add on coverage just in itself.
Yeah,
Also,
that's
go ahead.
no, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, no, I did not have GTL Guaranteed Trust Life on here, but yeah, that's another one that we could even talk a little bit about. I mean, another good option for close to guaranteed issue.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if we have some time at the end, maybe we can even maybe discuss them a little bit further. I know you probably know a lot more about them than I do. I mean, I've written a few with them, but I know they have a lot more to offer too than just the final expense or just the life insurance. So then another thing that's nice with SBLI, their standard rating, it's first day coverage, but look at some of these health conditions that a lot of companies might not even insure. I mean, I've seen, like, for instance, sickle cell, hepatitis. Those are a couple conditions that I've seen as declinable with some final expense companies. COPD, that goes modified with a lot of carriers. Same with Parkinson's, other mental health issues, pancreatitis. So these are some issues that, like I said, a lot of companies are going to go modified. And I've even seen a few that will decline some of those conditions. So pretty good right there. You run into someone who's got COPD, Parkinson's, you're going to be able to offer them first day coverage, which is a really good thing. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that's one thing I'm always thinking about. Like, if I can get that person first day coverage, why would I want to write that business somewhere else? I want to do what I can, what's best for the client, and put them in a plan where I know that I walk out that door, they're covered, especially if they don't have anything in place already.
Yeah, I had a few instances in the past where I got lazy. I was leading with my lead carrier, and my lead carrier would put somebody in this category modified, and I just wrote it modified because I was being lazy. And I found out that created such bad karma with the business that the business fell off for really no good reason. But it was probably because I didn't do a good job in the beginning placing these standard rate conditions with first day coverage when it was an option.
I just wonder, like at your primary carrier, are they going to be that upset if you're not giving them this business? Like, I mean, we're talking about business that's higher risk. They say that they always want a good mix of business,
Mhm.
but it's like, how upset is your primary going to be if you're not giving them your COPDs and your Parkinson's and all this stuff that where the life expectancy is going to be a little bit shorter. I mean, there's a much higher risk there. But with that said, I think it's good too to give all the carriers a good mix of business. Like, don't just send SBLI your COPD business. Don't just send them your sickle cell and
Pancreatitis.
your hepatitis and things like that. Yeah. I mean, I think
Oh,
that, well, what's going to happen if you only write that sort of business with a carrier? It's going to affect your persistency and your placement rate. Companies want to see that you're writing good business and that you're not just giving them your poor
junk.
quality business. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think that there's a balancing act to it. Like we want to do the right thing as often as possible, but when you pick a lead carrier that has a good standard rate product, like standard rate tier, then that means you can give them healthy preferred rate and a mix of standard. But these carriers are wise to us too. Like they know if they're just being abused for their niches, if they're just being
Hmm.
picked for standard COPD direct express cases, then they reevaluate their whole portfolio because of it. So when you're picking a lead carrier, if maybe you've lost a Colombian or if you lost someone you've led with before, pick out one that has that good preferred and standard mix to their product anyway, so you can give them a good mix of business.
Well, and if you like writing your COPD with SBLI, again, yeah, give them your some other good business too. I would say for each niche piece of business you write, you should write at least one good, clean first day coverage, no health issues sort of piece of business with them as well. I think would be a good rule of thumb, especially if you want to see that product still be available and those sort of underwriting niches still be available.
Hmm.
Because if you abuse them and you only use them for these sort of scenarios, well, that's what's going to happen. It's going to lead to a lot more death claims on their part, could lead to underwriting changes, could lead to rate increases, or could put them out of business, like we've seen
Hmm.
with some carriers. So
Yeah.
that's why it's good. Like I said, good rule of thumb, each piece of business you write that's one of these conditions, write the person that's just taking a high blood pressure med with them or something. And that's the best thing that you could do, I think, to help the industry as well to keep some of these products out there.
Yeah, I remember when Sika came out, they were talking about how because it's a 0 to 85 product, because it's accepting some pretty significant conditions immediate, use the younger rates, younger ages, like place some 30 and 40-year-old business with them, give them a healthy mix of younger folks to balance out the fact that they're willingly giving first day coverage to some pretty sick individuals. And I think some agents think to themselves, well, what do I care? I'll just write somebody new. It's really inconvenient when products exit the market, when carriers pull distribution to deal with chargebacks and debt and servicing business. It's just plain inconvenient. And the less you can have that happen to you, the more less stressful your life's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I remember even a few weeks ago, somebody commented about something with the underwriting niches and was like, "Well, hey, that's their problem. They offer it, so I'm going to write it."
And
Well,
it's our
now
problem
it's not
too.
there anymore. Now it's not there anymore, so you're not going to be able to write it. So that's why it's a good rule of thumb to give these carriers a good mix of business. Don't just give them your garbage, like we've talked about. If you want the products to still be there. Uh, Funny that you brought up Sika, Chris, because that's the next one
Yeah.
in line here. Sika Superior Choice um, is the next carrier, and they go ages like you just mentioned, Chris. You can write the younger ages with them on this product. It goes ages 0 to 85, and they have level coverage and guaranteed issues. So the guaranteed issue, people that have serious health issues at the younger ages. A lot of the different final expenses, I mean, might be 45 years old, might be 50 years old where they're starting. And then you run into the younger people and there's nothing you can do for them. Well, with Sika, they have that guaranteed issue, and that starts at the young age. So pretty good deal. And there's no height and weight chart. So that's another thing. You run into someone, and I've ran into it, people that are just, maybe they are very overweight. Maybe they've been overweight their whole life, but their health is decent. They're not even taking any medications, or maybe just like a blood pressure med. They say that, the weight could lead to more health issues down the road, but at least, with them, same thing, you run into someone pretty decent health. You don't have to worry about if they're overweight, you can still get that business issued and it's not going to penalize them. There's no tobacco rate. So it's just a simple, no tobacco, no non-tobacco rate. It's just one rate. So makes it pretty simple. I mean, talk about simple. When you're having to figure out rates, they don't run an MIB. They don't run an RX. I mean, it's
issued how you apply. Like you
Yeah.
are the underwriter, so treat it
Exactly.
fairly. Treat it like you are the underwriter. I think this industry has lost track of the fact that this is a three-legged stool. What's best for you, yourself, your business, your agency, what's best for the carrier, and what's best for the client. Like those three legs have to stand on each other or the whole thing doesn't work. So if you know that they don't check MIB and RX and you know you're putting bad business with them, you know you're only inconveniencing yourself in the end. And when the client dies and the carrier doesn't pay and you get a chargeback, you get what you deserve. So understand this as a benefit. Don't use it as something to abuse. No tobacco rate. I got to love that. And the tobacco rates come up right in that top tier in many cases. There isn't any other large carrier on the market, Adam, that does a unit tobacco product like this. No other one. No height and weight chart. I heard a rumor, and I tend to believe it when I hear it from certain people, that there's other products on the market that have no height and weight chart that are not going to be on the market for much longer. So that's another niche that's very, very useful. So great product. They just reopened contracting. They're expanding into more states. We just got to give them good business, not just the bad business. Otherwise, we'll be talking about another product that's gone.
Exactly. Like you said, Chris, you can't abuse the fact that they don't run an MIB and they don't do a script check. Have you ever had a policy rescinded? I have. I mean, I did stuff the right way, but in the end, policy gets rescinded. You're not just paying back the 9 months, you're paying back the whole thing. If that person lives 23 months and they die, you just got hit with a 23-month chargeback.
Correct.
So if you're writing a bunch of lousy business, you're just setting yourself up for those things to happen to you in the future. So
it's immoral. Like, why do that to somebody?
Yeah.
Like, they trusted you to buy from you. Why would you put them in something that you know isn't going to be any good? Like, we got to do the right thing by people too.
Yeah, you can't play God. You don't know if they're going to live 2 years. You got to do the right thing and place the good business when you need to. And if they don't qualify, well, heck, they have a guaranteed issue. They're going to qualify for something here. So, and level coverage, this is something in the next slide, boy, some of these health issues that we're going to be going through here, where they take them first day. It's like, I don't feel like you'd even have to shortcut stuff or be unethical. I mean, most of the conditions are going to be taken on that level benefit. Preferred rating for cancer-free. If you're 1 day cancer-free, preferred rating. There's no wheelchair question. Level conditions for congestive heart failure. All stages of kidney disease and dialysis. We're talking about conditions that are declines with a lot of companies. Like most companies aren't taking congestive heart failure. They're not taking dialysis. Maybe they're taking just regular kidney diseases, but same thing. And as you can see here, it says medically managed health conditions. And what that means, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, I think that means that they're going to the doctor on a regular basis for a regular checkup, and they're consistent with taking their medications on a regular basis.
Correct. Yeah, they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing, which gives them a longer lifespan, which is key. And I think some people that may watch this now or in the future, or maybe watched this content in the past, think to themselves, there's no way this even lasts. Well, here's the reality of it. It's priced average. Like, this isn't a price busting product as it is. It's priced for this type of risk. So you can be confident in that as long as you're treating it correctly. You're writing good business that also sticks on the books. Like, sure, they take it first day coverage, but if you don't service it and it falls off, then it doesn't help anybody either. So we have to do a good job servicing our business too. Congestive heart failure, dialysis, kidney disease, oxygen, one leg, no legs, wheelchair. I mean, it's a very useful product in the sense that you could really just write this product if it's in your state.
Yeah, that's the one thing, Chris, is that I'm not, it's not available in Illinois yet. Maybe that's coming in the future. I'm looking forward to it because I know for sure it'll be useful for me in a lot of these different scenarios that we're talking about. These are conditions that I run into all the time. Congestive heart failure, like, and you got to like sit there and like most of the time you're looking into like the guaranteed issues at that point. So, and especially at kidney dialysis, same thing. Not many companies are going to take someone who's on dialysis. So right away, it's great. Not only can we get them, we're not even talking guaranteed issue. We're talking first day coverage, as long as they are compliant with taking their meds and going to the doctor. What is it like what's the general checkup? What do they say? Like every 6 months you got to go to the doctor or like annual checkups?
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as you just at least once a year, I would say, at least as long as you're going to the doctor once a year and you're good with taking your meds, you should be fine. Stroke patients, mini stroke, liver disease, including cirrhosis. I mean, crazy that these are level conditions. I would assume organ transplants probably going to be on the guaranteed issue side. Chris?
I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure if
Okay.
even it's been completed and still being treated, it counts.
Okay. Yeah, that would be one I'd be curious to see an organ transplant, because I'm just thinking I had a lady she had a liver transplant. I've been working on getting her coverage, and the guaranteed issues are really the only ones that are available that would take her. So let's see, insulin diabetes, diabetic neuropathy. Okay, look at that. 5-year look back on organ transplants. So it was right there. I didn't even
Yeah.
I did this. I did this training. I put this together months ago, so I actually didn't even really run back through it this morning. So 5-year look back on organ transplants. So I guess in that scenario, that client, it would still be a guaranteed issue for her, but she'd at least qualify for that. So
yeah,
hey, better than nothing.
A lot of organ transplants only have 3 to 5 year mortalities on them. So that kind of makes sense why they would make it a 5-year look back on organ transplant. But some organs that are transplanted, you live for another 10 or 20 years. So
Yeah.
just a little medical insight on why that's so often a rated condition.
And let's see, there's no upfront chargebacks. They pay weekly. Now, I think this might need to be corrected. I don't think they pay on draft anymore, do they, Chris?
Well, so the way it works is they pay you after the payment is cleared, is my understanding of it. There's so many things going on in the world nowadays. The tiniest details I run out of time to get to, but
Yeah.
I'm 99% confident the way that it works is they pay you once that premium has cleared, which means they're paying you clean commissions. You're not getting something that's going to charge back a week later, which is perfectly fine. I remember Liberty Bankers used to offer a concept where you were paid after the payment cleared. I know Polish Falcons is moving closer and closer to that model because the carriers need clean premium on the books to be putting out big commission payments,
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, honestly, Polish Falcon, I've written a pretty fair amount of business with this year. And as much as I like getting the upfront money, I also have had hardly any chargebacks with them, because if the initial premium doesn't go through, I had not gotten paid on it yet. And if I can conserve that business and get it set up and the draft clears, great. If I don't, at least I didn't have to worry about $1,000 chargeback or something.
And then they take the actual chargebacks out of month 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because they pay a 6-month advance, which is also perfectly fine. I
Yeah.
spoke to another carrier rep recently that said that they think the 6-month advance needs to get back in style. Like what that does for you is it builds up more significant renewal income in month 7 instead of month 10 in your career. And I agree. I did that with a carrier years ago. I moved it to a 6-month advance and I'm like, oh, look at that. $1,200 a month out of nowhere. So 6-month advance, and then they're taking the chargebacks out of that back end when they come up.
Yeah, that's not bad. Even, a brand new agent is as much as the upfront money, the 9-month advance is great. Uh, I mean, I think I'd say the biggest struggle for an agent is the first 9 months because they don't have any of that back end commission coming in yet. So,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe they'll make a little bit less upfront, but come month 7, that money's already kicking in and it's going to clear up any chargebacks. So when you're writing business, you're not getting hit with those chargebacks up front. If anything, will come out of that back end. That's another thing that I think can keep agents going too. Sometimes people, they might get hit with those chargebacks. They owe money, then they don't have money to buy leads, and could get to the point where they're out of business. So yeah, I do like some of these unique approaches when it comes to just the different ways that some of these carriers are paying commissions and protecting agents too from the
Themselves.
chargebacks.
Well, I also like the first company you mentioned and this company, they pay weekly. I think that if you're doing contracting for a carrier, you should pick weekly if it's an option. Like daily pay is nice, quick pay is cool, but consistent weekly deposits, if that's an option for you, provides a whole nother layer of stability to your income and expenses and deposits and mindset that I appreciate that way more than, I got paid the next day or paid in 2 days. Like just give me nice, big, consistent Monday deposits. And I'm a huge fan of that.
And right in the agent portal, any issues that you have, I guess you're able to resolve right in the portal. Like
Mhm.
I said, I haven't been able to write them yet, but once I'm able to, I think it will play a pretty significant role in the business that I'm doing because, again, just a lot of those health scenarios that most companies are going to go modified or guaranteed issue. I mean, this solves a solution and puts the client in a very good spot.
Plus, it pays
Um,
you better too. Like the
yeah,
fact that you're not writing it GI and you're writing it for immediate coverage, full comp is a more
yeah, you're right.
profitable part of your business.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a real good point. Most companies got guaranteed issue. Sometimes your commission gets cut in half.
Mhm.
Even modified, they drop you 20 points. So,
It's better than
yeah,
nothing.
that's
Better than nothing,
yeah.
but
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, as you can see, this was the most recent map that I found. I don't believe they've added any more since then. As you can see, Illinois is still in light blue, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, all around myself. I guess I could go out to
me too.
Indiana and write some Seek if I wanted to.
Me too. I'm not blue either. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Neither of us are
Yeah.
blue. It's okay.
Kind of the same thing. You could go to PA to write. I could go to Indiana if we wanted to go write it.
Mhm.
So, but hopefully it's coming soon. It shows here, that it's pending approval, and I know it's been pending for quite some time now. So, I think I remember Wayne Daniel mentioning that there were some states that were going to be added pretty shortly here. So, I'm hoping that
Mhm.
that will be, well, at least Illinois for me, and hopefully Maryland for yourself.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about a graded product in a few minutes that works perfectly in the states that this product isn't in. And ironically, that Fraternal's state map almost fills in the entire light blue area on this map, and that's it.
Hey,
Like
there we go.
it's perfect to think, well, you can't have it, you don't have it for now. Guess what? We've got another option instead.
Yep, for sure. So, well, the next one we're talking about, Polish Falcon. That's one that uh, I think more and more people are learning about. I remember when you mentioned them to me, you were like, Adam, I found this fraternal company that the rates look awesome. They have the same EAP as KSKJ, who
Rest
no
its soul.
longer is doing it. But I just remember, like, I had written a few with KSKJ and I thought that their EAP was like the easiest thing in the world. So
Mhm.
when you told me that Polish Falcon had the same EAP and very comparable underwriting, I was pretty excited about it. So, they did send out a notice Friday. I think that they are going to be having a little bit of a rate increase, but their rates are better than everybody as it is. Like
Yeah.
their whole life product, their rates are like unheard of good. Like unbelievably good. Like you look at the rates and it's like, wow, like how can they do this? Like there's nothing that's even close to this out there. So the fact that they are going to be going up a little bit, I get it. That's all companies kind of go through those sort of things. We've yet to learn exactly how much their rates are going up, but we'll be finding out, I guess, within the next couple weeks.
I just did the
I'm
math
not
on it.
expecting a giant rate increase. Yeah.
They would have to raise rates 15% to pull them out of the top 3 and put them in line with some other carriers like your SBLIs and Prosperities. They'd have to go up 20% to put themselves in line with Senior Choice, 25% before it would really be like a game changer. So they're already super competitive. A moderate price increase, assuming that's nothing crazy, isn't really going to change their value in the market.
No, because there's more to it than just the price. Like I've said, I mean, just the simplicity of doing business with them. The e-app that's so easy, and it's not that difficult to get the business issued. Very seldom do I have a case with them that I write that just completely gets knocked out. It happens once in a while, but not very often. So, like I said, that's what I've really liked about them this year. Not only the fact that the rates are awesome, like better than everybody, but rates are not everything. This to me, it's been more than about the rates. It's more about just for me the simplicity of doing business, the e-app that. I mean, I can write an app and be in and out of a house in 15 minutes. I mean, it's a super easy app. You get the decision right away. So let's run through some of that.
I also checked on the mail segment. They would have to raise rates 23% in that mail segment before they would pull themselves out of the top tier in pricing. So we'll see. But even then, an average rate product with this process would still get use. And the next Fraternal we're going to cover, an in and out 5 to 7 minute graded product, so much simpler than trying to figure out how to log in, get to the app. And that's why we love them, is because they're such a big partner with iCover.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll be honest, Chris, I don't feel like our clients are out there like shopping rates. We show up, we put the quotes together. I think if anything, we get in our heads more than anything.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the different rates. Like I could quote them AmAm, which I know is higher. I know Polish Falcon is cheaper. They don't know anything about Polish Falcon. They never heard about them. They probably never heard of AmAm either.
No.
But they're not shopping around. They're not calling 30 different places, getting quotes. More than likely, they probably put this off for too long, and it takes someone like us to show up to say, "Hey, let's get this done." But they're not shopping it around. So even if their rates go up and are kind of right in line with some of the others, I like I said, to me, it's more about the simplicity of doing business and the placement of getting that business placed and having somewhere for that business to get placed. And with them, like I said, very seldom do I run across cases where they just completely throw it out that they don't want the business. So now their final expense product, and I didn't have time to add slides because they have the final expense and then they also have the whole life. Their final expense product goes ages 50 to 80. Their whole life product actually goes ages 0 to 80. So that's one thing that I do like, is that when you are in a home, you can also write the younger people with them. And they have, on their whole life, they have 10 pay options, they have 20 pay options, they have single pay options, and same thing,
rider.
like
even a term rider.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, term rider too. The younger people, I mean, it's real easy to go into a home and just write a grandchild rider or a child rider on somebody. And it's only maybe a few extra dollars a month to do that. But those riders, they expire. and the person turns 25 years old, and then that person needs new coverage. I like with the Polish Falcon, they have the 10 pay and the 20 pay. And I'll explain to the client, look you're going to pay a little bit more, not a whole lot more. You're going to pay a little bit more, but they're going to have a paid off policy in 20 years. I wrote a couple, maybe 3 weeks ago. It was a mother, a daughter, and then 2 grandchildren. And the grandchildren, I think one of them was like 9 years old. The other one was like 6 years old. And like just a $10,000 20 pay policy was like $8 a month for like each of them, was like right around that, like $8 a month for 10 grand. It's like, do the math on that, 12 times 8 times 20, they're paying in a small fraction of what that policy is even worth in those 20 years. And I explained to the client, a lot of young people, they don't want to deal with a policy that they have to pay into forever. Where with this, it's paid off in 20 years, and then they'll have it forever and not have to worry about making any more payments. So that's kind of how I sell it. And the 20 pay, I would much rather write that if the person can handle paying it. I'd rather write the 20 pay on the young children than any sort of rider, because it's permanent coverage that they're going to have forever. That's not going to expire. And like I said, it was like $8 per child, right around that for 10,000. Like they're maybe paying a little bit more than what they'd be paying to add a rider on a different policy, but not a whole lot more. And it's for permanent coverage. So yeah, that's why I like them. The whole life, like I said, 0 to 80, the final expense, 50 to 80. And then the coverage on the final expense goes to 25,000. The coverage on the whole life goes to 50,000. So same thing, you run into people that maybe are, and the underwriting on the whole life it's going to be a little bit tighter, not a whole lot tighter, but someone who's in fairly decent health, you can offer them more than the 25,000. You could offer them. I mean, I've written a lot of $40,000 and $50,000 policies with them, especially people like in like that 40 to 50 to 55 year range, around that, where the rates are just so good. And, and I explained to them the fact that they're going to need more coverage. Like right now, it's going to cost $15,000 to $20,000 in most parts of the country to be buried. Well, you're 40 years old. You live to be 70 or 80. It's going to cost a lot more than that. I talk about the fact that when I got in the business 21 years ago, you could be buried for $6,000, and now people are paying 15 to 20. So what's going to happen in another 20 years? The younger people, they need more coverage. So that's what I like about the whole life. I don't have to be stuck at like a max of 25,000. I can go all the way up to 50 on the whole life. And I could even do like that 20 pay if I wanted to on the younger people. Then they just have it paid off in 20 years.
Every time you talk about it, you make me want to buy one. Which means I know you're selling a good on the house, because you make me want to buy it when you talk about it.
Well, to me, it just makes sense. I mean, I need to do one for myself. I've run the schedule a few times on it, even looking at the cash value and all that accumulates in it. But yeah, I'd like to do that myself, even a 20 pay, just have the thing paid off, and then it's just there. Mm-hmm. But, on the final expense, what's nice, they have a graded death benefit. It's not a modified, where most modifieds are just going to pay the return of premium plus maybe 10% interest within the first 2 years. The Polish Falcon, their graded benefit, the first year is going to pay 30% of that face amount. The second year, it's going to pay 70%. And then after that, they're fully covered. So the way I explain it, I don't even really go through it that way with the client. I'll base it off of the amount of coverage. So let's say that I want to do a $20,000 death benefit. Well, I'll explain to them, well, the way that this works, you are covered with this immediately. The first year, your policy is going to be worth $6,000 in coverage. And then after the first year, next year, your policy will be worth $14,000. And then after that year, then it'll be worth $20,000. So you are covered immediately. But that's how it works. First year, you'll be covered with $6,000. Next year, $14,000, and then the year after that, $20,000. And then to me, it's an easy sell. rather than trying to explain 30% of the face amount, 70% of the face amount. That still looks like a 2-year waiting period in some people's eyes, even though it really isn't, and it is a lot better. But that's how I explain it. I just break down, if I want to do 20,000, I'll break it down that way. If I want to do 10,000, I'll say, yeah, it'll be worth 3,000 your first year. And if you want to be cremated, heck, 3,000, you're covered with that right away. 7,000 the second year, and then 10,000 after that.
I got one little sales tip to add here. When it comes to writing modified or graded or guaranteed issue coverage, I always like to use months instead of years. For the first 12 months, Adam, for the first, then the next 24 months, months always digests a lot shorter in time than years. Like when you watch car commercials, you could finance your car for 162 months. Like, oh, okay, that's no big deal. It turns out it's like 19 years nowadays. Like, but when they say finance it for only 72 months, oh, okay, that's only 72 months. It just processes a lot better for the consumer, and it's still a correct thing. It's still at the goal. It's still accurate, but it's a sales way to help people digest the fact that this isn't immediate coverage. But in a lot of cases, Adam, too, I think our clients think everything has a 2-year wait. And when they see it this way, they see more value in it.
Yep.
And they know their health. They know that they're not healthy. They know they're not going to live forever. And if you've given a good presentation, and that's what they're going to offer. Adam, I bet you some of these clients that you're talking to them about graded coverage have been declined by other agents that have been in the home. So they're happy that you've got something for them.
Well, yeah, most definitely. And like I said, I mean, most of them, even if they are going to be able to get covered most places, it is just going to be like a return of premium those first couple of years. So something like this is just so much better. I mean, other policies, if you're paying $100 a month, well, what, next year you die, what, the family's going to get back like maybe 1,200. Here they're going to get back a lot more. So yeah, it's a great benefit. The graded benefit, so much better than just your traditional modified death benefit. And like I mentioned, it's a simple Decision E app. It takes 5 to 7 minutes to complete. I remember about, 2-3 months ago, I had an agent out training with me. We were sitting in the car, and one of my clients called me, and we just kind of got to talking. I talked the guy into adding coverage, and I'm on the phone with this guy, and I got my iPad out, and yeah, we were on the phone for maybe 15 minutes, and I hung up, and this kid next to me is looking at me like, what did you just do? Like, I just wrote an app on this guy. He's like, just like that? It was that easy? I was like, yeah. He's like, man, that's crazy. Like, that's the thing, sort of things like that happen. The longer you're in the business, you have clients calling you here and there, but I mean, talk about an easy sale on and off the phone in 15 minutes. Their easy text to sign feature, like all you do, it gets to the signature portion, and you just hit like send text. It sends them a text, and then all the client has to do, they click a link, they scroll down on their phone. There's a little box that appears. They sign on their phone with their finger. And I'd say probably 95% of people these days have a smartphone. So yeah, they scroll down, they sign with their finger, they hit adopt and sign. And in real time, you'll see that signature show up on your side on the screen. And then from there, you hit adopt and sign, and you're done. Like I said, super easy. For people that don't have a smartphone, you can email it, but and it's like sort of like a DocuSign sort of thing. But I mean, most people, they have the smartphone, makes it simple and it's easy, and it's done. And then your job is done. That's it. Nothing goes to pending. Your job is done. The policy's issued, and you can move on to the next.
And you're doing it the right way. You're not cutting corners and forging signatures and committing what is really fraud by, well, I'm just going to sign their name on the application and they won't know and nobody will know and then they'll find out. So playing by the rules is also convenient in this situation. I had one last week, similar situation, well, a little bit different. The policy didn't go through with another carrier, and I got her on the phone. I texted out the signature. She signed it, sent it back, policy done. And it's just convenient and it's correct, and they appreciate it. And the people that we work with are more tech savvy than we give them credit for. Like, the seniors have been pushed to the era of technology the last 4 years. They've been on Zoom, they've been on Meets, they've been on Click to Signs, DocuSigns. text to signs. Like, just do it the right way. These carriers have made it easy for us, so we should do it right.
And if you got to walk the client through it, you just be patient. Sometimes, like, I think my mom, my parents, my dad writes. He's just starting to write with the Falcons over the weekend. Like, he had one. The client, like, he didn't know how to get to his text messages while he was on the phone still. Like, just little things like that. Like, my mom walked the guy through it. You just got to be patient, maybe a little bit, but you'll get it done. But overall, yeah, it's a very simple, easy process. And it's good for face-to-face and also for telesales. Like I mentioned, I mean, I was in the car and talking to that guy and got the thing done in 10, 15 minutes. So pretty awesome. And yeah, the rates are price busting. And like we said, Chris, I mean, it'll take a lot for them to even be into the next tier. I mean, they'd have to greatly raise their rates. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I guess only time will tell here in the next few weeks. But like I said, there's more to it than just that. Just the simplicity of, overall of doing business with them, honestly, is enough for me to continue doing business with them, even with their rate increases that are going to be coming up here within the next few weeks.
Yeah, ease of use is sometimes highly undervalued. And I'm hoping we're getting to Royal Arcanum next, because I know we're getting on close to time.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Product availability. I think this is up to date. I don't think the ones in navy blue have been added yet, if I'm correct, Chris.
I have not heard that they've been added yet, but
yeah. So currently they're only in about 9 states. But fortunately for me, I mean, they're states that I'm right business in. So, it's worked well for me. It will be nice when they are added in Texas and Florida and South Carolina. I know me and you, at least, I know we have some agents in those areas. So
yeah,
it'll help. It'd be helpful to be able to offer it in those states. But for the time being, like I said, I think it's smart on their part. The product really got pushed out within the last maybe year or so. And I've always said slow and steady is better than throwing it out there to everybody. And I mean, the more people, like we've said, writing business, I think the companies, they kind of know how much premium they can handle bringing in. They don't want to bring in too much because that could put them in a tough spot too. And then they're making drastic changes.
Yeah.
So, they're making some changes, but I don't feel like any of the changes that they've made yet have been drastic. Like, it's not like they're changing their underwriting completely or anything like that. So, but if they had opened themselves up to maybe more states from the get-go, maybe they would be in a tougher spot and have to make those sort of changes. So that's why it's better to start slow and then build from there, just like building an agency. So, anyways, yeah, let's move on here. The last one we want to talk about is one that I think a lot of people that are watching maybe have never heard of or just don't really know a whole lot about. And that's Royal Arcanum. They're another fraternal company similar to Polish Falcons with the almost same identical e-app as Polish Falcons. It's the iCover platform. And so, like I said, yeah, same thing. Super easy e-app. If you know how to use the one that maybe you used to write with KSKJ or like the Polish Falcon, same thing. Like I said, if you know how to use those two, well, you're going to know how to use this one as well.
There may come a day, Adam, where iCover has a single gateway where you log in and all of the fraternals on the platform you can apply for at the same time. Like, how mind-blowing would that be?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That'll be easy, kind of those scenarios where, I mean, that sounds almost comparable to like the toolkit calculator, but with the fraternal where you're going through the e-app, if it doesn't go through with the one, well, then they'll recommend like another offering, another fraternal that will still take them. And that's good. That's awesome. So now Royal Arcanum, they offer a number of different products: whole life, 20 pay, paid to 65, final expense, and graded. The main one I wanted to focus on today is the graded benefit. That's really what we're using Royal for the most part, at least for now. I think their e-app, I heard their e-app is going to be available for the other products shortly. I think their regular final expense. Currently, I think it's just for like the regular graded product.
Well,
But
let me give a quick update on that because that's
yeah.
a moving needle, which is important to know. Their
Okay.
whole life product that you have here at the top should be available on iCover July 1st. I bother
Okay.
Nicole at Royal Arcanum about it every week. They're from Boston. They've got a tough skin. It's okay. Whole life should be available in July, and it is available in Toolkit. So you can run the rates now and see that it is super stupid competitive. And ironically, many of the Royal Arcanum states that Polish Falcons isn't in, this is in. So you may not have what we just showed you, but you might have this. So that's pretty cool as well. The way they're doing it right now on iCover is you're applying for just a final expense, and you'll either qualify for their simplified issue final expense rates, and if that doesn't work, then you'll get recommended for the graded benefit. So you're just answering the questions truthfully and honestly. You're going through the process, and you might actually, I had a few people I don't qualify for full simplified issue instead of graded. And I'm like, well, that $65 a month actually got you 25K now. Is that okay? Of course it's okay.
Yeah.
So you're applying basically straight through for either of the products, but you're not picking either of the products, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, because like I said, I mean, for me, for the most part, it's just primarily been, I would consider it very close to a guaranteed issue.
Mm-hmm.
And only other one we didn't mention here was a single premium whole life. Pretty self-explanatory. So this is just a little bit about Royal Arc. They've been around forever. But the main thing, their graded plan, let's see, it's on the next slide here. Here we go. It goes ages 45 to 85. And it's 2,500 in coverage to 15,000 in coverage. Now, if you look at the left here, you'll see not a bad deal. First year is that return of premium. The second year pays 25% of the face amount. So not quite as good as the graded with the Polish Falcon, but they're also accepting pretty much everybody. If you look at the eligibility, there's two health questions. One, are you confined to a bed or in a hospital, clinic, or rest home? And then number two, do you have AIDS? That's it. Those are like the two questions. So if both of those are no, well, then you qualify for this product, which to me makes it pretty close to a guaranteed issue.
Yeah. If you
can, and
I wonder too,
it's easy to write.
It doesn't say HIV. I wonder if HIV would go through, because AIDS and HIV are two different things, technically speaking. But realistically, if you can't get them qualified for this, at some point, maybe just they don't qualify.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had the poor quality business.
I had the app pulled up earlier, and yeah, that's a good question. With them, what's that again?
I'm gonna have to ask. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I had the app pulled up. I don't know what I did with it on my computer. I know we're kind of running short on time here, but I don't think it mentioned HIV. I think the health question even on the app was just AIDS. Mm-hmm. So, but I guess there is like a difference between the two. So yeah, that would be good to know if HIV is okay. If they would still take that on the graded, I was almost going to say guaranteed issue, but like I said, it's close to guaranteed issue. And it's, like I said, it's simple, it's easy to write, and you can know going in that it's going to get approved. So, it's a good product. Like I said, if you're familiar with the others, like the Polish Falcon, or in the past, the KSKJ, the e-app, identical, very simple, easy to write. And they are paying a bonus too. I think they just extended it. It was like, I think the first app you write with them, you receive, it's either $100 or $150 cash bonus. Mm-hmm. And then each app you write after that is like another $25 bonus. And I think, like I said, I just got an email. I thought it was just running through the end of June, but I think they extended that to maybe the end of July. So
Nice little
same thing,
bonus.
if you have, yeah, if any of you have any questions pertaining to these carriers, reach out to me. Go to unitylifegroup.com/careers. Shoot me over inquiry, and I'd be happy to set up a call with you. We could talk about the different carriers. We could talk about, what we could do to maybe even help you get you contracted with them. And even other carriers, that we talked about earlier, or if you just need help, you just need some help, you need some support,
Help.
you want to work with some people that are,
What do I do?
exactly, you're just looking for some help, we can help you. I'd be happy to work with you, help you, see what we can do to put you in a good spot. It's a good business, especially if you line yourself up with the right people that are looking out for your best interests and your success and want to see that you make it long-term in the business. I've always said, I'm 21 years in. If it didn't work, I would have found something else to do by now. It does work. It's just a matter of, like I said, putting the time in, learning it, and lining yourself up with people that have your best interests in hand. So feel free to reach out to me, unitylifegroup.com/careers. And I'd be happy to, see what we can do to help you put in a good spot for some long-term success. You can go to adambersan.com too to sign up for future trainings. That way you will be notified and you can get right into our live StreamYard feed that we know for sure you'll be able to access every single week, regardless of what Facebook continues to do. Because I got a notification in StreamYard today that they're cutting off access to other accounts through Facebook. So I don't know. Like I said, there's some workarounds. I just maybe got to spend a little bit more time to get those live feeds back going through the different groups. But yeah, sign up, adambersan.com. You'll get an email every week of the trainings. You can register and you can just watch it live right in our StreamYard. And check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/adambersan. Also check out the Insurance Life and Everything in Between YouTube channel and also Facebook group, where we do provide ongoing support, updates in the industry. And that's what a lot of our most recent podcast episodes have been about. So yeah, check out the podcast too, which is part of the Insurance Life and Everything in Between YouTube channel. And it's also uploaded on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, I don't know, like 40,000 different audio platforms. So if there's a podcast available and on whatever service you use, you could search us and you'll probably find it on there. So like I said, and it to me, I just think it helps when you're out in the car, you're out working and you need something to listen to. Well, this is stuff that's just going to help you get better. These trainings are going to help you get better. So listen to some stuff that is relatable to what you're out there doing that's going to help you get better. And it'll be a win-win for you. So thanks again, everybody, for hopping on this morning. Appreciate y'all taking the time to pick up maybe a few different ideas and learn a little bit from us. Feel free to reach out if you need anything. Feel free to shoot me a text or call, or like I said, you can even inquire on unitylifegroup.com. We can set up a call, and I hope y'all have a great week out there. Thanks again for hopping on, and thank you again, Chris, for helping me out.
Absolutely.
All right, have a good one. Thanks again.